Hey ladies, it's Geneva here with week 2 of your Instagram training. I'm super excited to get this out to you. I hope you had so much fun working on part 1. Love that you guys are taking this seriously, posting your homework, and getting ready to take over Instagram. So today, I'm really going to try to stick to my 20 minutes. So if you have any questions after, post it in the group or email me. And while we're away, we will be checking that as much as possible. So this week we are going to dive right in looking at our Instagram work from last week. And then we're going to be updating it with some tweaks and something new. So if you haven't, go ahead and download the content guide for this week. Make sure you have that out. I'm pulling it up now as we speak. So if you haven't done last week's homework, I'm going to keep it real. Like, this is not going to be as relevant, and it at times may feel like a waste. So you might want to stop this video and go do your homework and then come back to me. Again, let's stick with the schedule. Let's stick with getting everything we need to done so we can stay on point with this and really see the benefits of it in 2018. All right, so sorry, I'm playing with my hair. Mary just gave it a little upgrade. Shout out to Mary. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share the document from this week with you so that you can follow along with me. This is week 2 of the launch, and at the top it says create a content system. All right, so what you'll see first is always guiding questions. And the reason that I do that is just, it's things to think about in case, you forget what I said on the video. But basically, it's the same questions I'm prompting you with now. So before we dive deep into content, making it specifically yours and completely owning it with your brand, I want you to think, what do you want people to expect from your page? What goes best with the brand you're creating? And something to think about while we do this work is, don't forget that you also have Instagram stories now, so you can always have a plan for that as well. So let's say oh, this doesn't really go with my planned content, but I want to be able to do stories with it. That's always an option. So creating a content system, what I mean by that is that we're going to create the system that you're going to follow for all of your content. So the way people slip up and, ruin their branding and their page, and the reason people are slow to get followers is because they don't have a system, right? You don't want to be somebody who's on the phone all the time, constantly working because you don't have a plan, right? So you're just floundering. Oh, shoot, I need to do a post. Then you have to think through it all, and it takes forever to make it branded because you didn't take the time ahead of time. So that's what we're going to help you with today. So by a content system, what we're going to do is think about how we want to engage with our followers. So do we want to have, just like last week, are we going to follow, do we want our grid to look a certain way? So if so, what pattern are we following? So will you follow a weekly schedule? Will you do a pattern rotation? So I see Instagrams where it's a photo of people, then always a quote, then a photo of people, then a quote. Will it be a weekly schedule like some of the examples I'll share with you in a second? Again, it should match any grid patterns and themes that you planned last week. And above all else, the content needs to be valuable and engaging in order to attract people, right? So how can you take what you already do and love and make it valuable to others with tips or tricks and engaging? So that a lot of times is based on the image, which we'll talk more about later. Now, the more clearly you think through this plan, the more likely you'll be successful, as I shared. So because you'll have it planned already, you won't have to think about it in the moment. It's going to be a lot easier for you. And when we're done, we're going to test the system that you think through by mapping out a month of content. So here's 2 examples I thought of based on my example of a sweet sparkle last week. So what we want to do is just get really super clear for ourselves And this is what I'm going to ask you to share in the group page for your homework this week. So for one example, I said I will post daily quotes that match my branding every day I'll be posting. So 6 posts each week will have a call to action, which we'll discuss in a bit. Once a week I will share my story and invite people to connect with me. I should have been a little more specific there and said how, but let's just say it's through a direct message or sending them to my website, something like that. Each day I will follow a theme. I'll do Monday will be a motivational quote, hashtag Motivation Monday. We'll get ready to take on the week. Tuesday we'll reflect on our transformation, so we'll call it Transformation Tuesday. We'll shout out ourselves for a great habit that we've implemented or some way we're allowing our life to sparkle. Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday, we'll share wisdom we've gained our lesson. Thursday will be Thankful Thursday. We'll share gratitude. Friday will be Freedom Friday. How we'll take something on. How will we create more freedom in our life? Saturday will be a freebie, so whatever I want to share that I'm inspired by, and then we'll do Self-Care Sunday. So it'll be a tip on something they should do that day. So as you notice, I'm very intentional. Each day I have something that will be useful to the people I'm speaking to. So that's how I'm engaging them, and that's how I'm creating value. I know for me, that would be super helpful. I'd be like, oh, let me check what I'm doing today to better my life. And that's what I want to offer people. In the second example, for the same brand, it's the same tab. I'll post daily quotes that match my brand. 6 posts a week will have a call to action. Each week will follow a rotating theme. So in this case, instead of each day, each week I will focus on a topic. So week 1, I'll focus on choosing positivity. So all of my quotes will follow that theme. This is cool because you can also then change up colors more, or depending on your brand style, you can kind of make that theme really thematic with colors and graphics that go together. And I just listed kind of my first 4 because we want to think about this always for our first month of content. So I did 4 weeks and themes I would do. So those are 2 examples. For this specific brand, if you're doing a beauty brand, you might think, okay, we're going to target lips in my first week. That's something I really know a lot about and I'm passionate about. Or if you're even more targeted brand already, if you're lips, you might target a color seasonally, or tips for the season. If you're focusing on skincare, you could make your theme or like your system as simple as I will rotate each week based on what's relevant, or each month based on what's relevant. So that's a lot of times how I think of things for our business. We will focus on winter, and that month will include winter skincare tips, how to keep your lips from being chapped, things you'll need to add to your routine, maybe because your skin's drier and you want to do your makeup and have it not look all chalky. So different tips that go with it. But within that 30-day theme, we still want to have specifically for each day what we're going to do. So is it still going to be inspiration 3 times a week, beauty tips 4 times a week, giving you something for every day, and following a monthly theme or a seasonal theme? It's up to you how you want to break that down, but I want you to go all the way, dive deep to specifically to the day, so that you don't even have to think about it when you move on to create content. All right, I'm going to share again with you because I want to show you an example of what that looks like. So if you go to the 3rd page of your, share, please, thank you. Okay, if you go to the 3rd page of your worksheet, there's a 30-day content planner that I just borrowed from the Masters of Instagram training, one of them I took. So what you can read through is just day 1, post something inspiring. Day 2, something educational. Day 3, tell a story with your photo. Day 4, show something behind the scenes. Day 5, post and offer a product or promote something. Day 6, post something inspirational. Day 7, ask a question. So this is a more, you'll see repeated over and over. Like day 3 is tell a story. Day 9 is tell a story. Day 2 is post something educational. Day 10 is post something educational, right? So it does keep, then it's something behind the scenes and something inspiring. So it's repeating, but it's just planned out. So you know what you have to create, and you can create it ahead of time and quickly to get it done. So let's go move on to creating, because that's kind of the real nitty gritty of your action this week. All right, so I have on here again just to solidify your brand for Instagram. So thinking of those questions that we chatted about, what are you offering? What is the style? What patterns are you using as you post? So that you'll really have a good sense of what content you need to create, which is what we're moving on to. So again, I want you to rewrite this. I know you wrote it last week, but you should be so confident in it that it only takes you 30 seconds, just to make sure you're really committed to it. So once you do that, we're going to talk about, and we're going to start figuring out how we're going to create our branded content. So last week I had you just screen grab a bunch of stuff, and use other people's work, and I'm going to keep it real. That's technically not allowed without permission. However, I've done it. Everyone does it. So it's up to you if that's something you're comfortable with or not. Regardless of whether you start with a base of that somebody else created or create your own, what we're going to do this week is take that vision. We're going to implement it by making it uniquely us. A professional, remember our goal is a professional Instagram. So we're going to take, for instance, I liked all of the sparkles in my quotes. I liked a white base. Now that I know that, I'm going to DIY or find stock photos or hire someone to create content that is mine, that has my logo on it, or my just at a sweet sparkle on there, so that it's my content. People know that I'm legit, basically, right? It makes you look super professional, and it will always keep everything branded together. The last benefit is that if somebody shares your photo or steals it themselves, it has your logo on it, will send followers back to you. I know I've followed people because somebody else posts their stuff with their brand on it, and I found them on Instagram. All right, so let's look at how we're going to create content. So like I said, you can go ahead and steal some from people. I'm just going to call it what it is, right? And no shame, because I've done it. So you can steal some photos as long as they're professional. And what I would suggest is that you brand them by adding in definitely your logo, whether that's just at whoever or you have an actual logo, as well as put some type of frame around it, or some type of unique style to your image that makes it look like yours. Okay, so for our content, each photo must be professional, high resolution, clear and crisp, but no more, not the best photos. We're going to be using photo editing apps. I'm going to share some apps with you. And it needs to be 100% on brand. So we've spent so much time on this. Take the time to make it look like you want it to look. All right? So thoughts for how to do that, depending on your style. If this will take you forever to do, then please just pay somebody to do it. People on Fiverr, which is an app, you can pay them $1 a photo or cheaper, depending on who it is and their style of work, to edit your photos, to create branded content for you. It's definitely worth the investment, especially when you're starting out, if you're not able to do it pretty quickly yourself. Some apps I would suggest if you're DIYing, Adobe Illustrator is great. You do have to pay for it, but if you're a beginner, I would use Canva, and I have it up here for you. So hoping that this screen changes to what I want. So this is Canva. You can see some of my, let's see. Okay, good. Yes, this is sharing. Okay, these are family photos. I do everything in here. But here's the image. Here's the document where I started to create content for a sweet sparkle. So you can see I added a frame that is gold sparkles, and I was playing around with how I like things to look. I like this one better. I don't know why. There was something else down here, but I would definitely add my little brand. Oops, there we go. So Canva's super easy, but I would make it look something like this. Maybe put this a little smaller in the corner. It's basically Microsoft. I like to think of it as Paint from if you're old, grew up in the 90s like me. But you can come in here, you can upload your own content. You can upload, I do pay I don't know, might be $10 a month or something to be able to upload my own text. So those scripts I love, which you can download for free at like thefont.com and stuff like that, I upload those in here. And then if you do pay for it, it lets you have a little branded area of stuff. Where is it? Uploads. So it lets you save your logos really quickly, so you just can pop those on. And it also allows you to have branded colors. So whenever I start something, it starts in the font and the colors that I normally use. They're just little things to save time. The other thing, if you pay for it, you can magically, what they call it, magic resize. So if you want to use the same images, let's say on Facebook, it would automatically resize it for you. So you don't have to create multiple versions of the same thing. So that's Canva. It's super easy and it's free unless you really love it. Like I do and you use it all the time, then it might be worth paying for, but I would definitely start with an account on there for free. Then we have WordSwag, which is an app. So Canva I have not had success with on my phone. So I would also always have an app to use. So WordSwag is a great app because what it does is it allows you to have branded content super quickly. When you open the app, wish I had my phone sitting here, you can upload whatever photo you want, put that on there, and then it creates gorgeous text for you, and it allows you to put it in any color you want, and it just looks super branded and professional. I will post an example of some WordSwag app stuff that I've done, and they've just updated it with even more options. I think it costs $5 one time. It doesn't put a watermark or anything like that on your images, so it looks super professional. And then I would just also commit to sampling a few photo collages, or at this point you might already know one you like. Pay for one so that it doesn't leave the watermark. So that way if you ever have an image on your phone you want to post, you can quickly just go in there and put your logo on if your logo is an image. If your logo is text, you can always put it on through almost any app like WordSwag where you are adding words and not images. All right, lastly, I want to quickly, we're getting close to our 20 minutes, I want to quickly discuss, trying to share with you again, content. So, creating the comments for your content. So you got this awesome image you've created, it's on brand, it has your logo. Now, what are you going to say about it? I would do some research for these guided questions. So what are similar brands doing, or brands that you want to emulate? What are they doing? What lingo do they use? A lot of times brands have that like cute lingo that they always stick to, and they call things certain terms. What's your natural tone? So like you want to mix that lingo in with how you naturally talk. Don't try to be someone you're not, right? My tips for creating comments, it's going to change because this is like the first time you're doing this intentionally. So it'll change over time, but keep them short and sweet. Nobody reads really long comments. You make sure you have correct grammar because I judge people. So like, let's be real, and include that familiar lingo that they're used to from other brands. Be 100% on brand. So talk like you. This is your brand. Make sure it sounds like you. Add your unique symbols and style that we went over last week. So if you're using plus signs, if you're using check marks or a certain emoji all the time, put that in there. And then, it's always fun to have a hashtag unique to your brand, whether it's just your brand name or it's something that you love to say, like get made up is one that we use, or live freely, give freely, right? So whatever it is for you, create that and always include that. And then we'll talk more about this next week, but I wanted to note to create intentional hashtag group. So when you're doing your research is a good time to also grab the hashtags that the brands that you want to be like are using and start to create a group of, you can post no more than 30, but a group of those specific to your brand so that you have them and you can always use them. And remember, in Planoly, you can save a group of hashtags. So look at the most common ones they're using, and that you'll definitely want to include those. And lastly, I have a note here to include a call to action. What is a call to action? So it's simply asking your follower to do something, to engage them in some way. So if I just did this Instagram training and I didn't give you homework, you would be like, oh, that was such great information, and you might do something with it. But if it wasn't specific, you probably wouldn't. So a call to action is just that, asking someone to take an action. So if you post advice or tip, it might be anything as simple as, I'd love to hear what you use for this. Have you ever had that problem? Share below with, with a similar situation. Or it could be, head to my website and read this blog I wrote, or book me today if you want to have this, new hair color. Whatever it is, it should be there on 90% of your posts. And that's very different than a post, because we'll talk about this next week, but right, most of your posts shouldn't be book me today, like with a picture of your brand. It should be something of value to the other person. I would say no more than every 5th post could be like just a book me today. Generally, we want to be asking people to do other things so that when it is book me, it's something special. It's not overplayed. And it's something that people are like, oh, let me think about that, because I've already commented a few times. I've shared her post, right? You can ask people, please share, tag someone below who, right, is a good one. So there's a million you can do, but think about adding those as you create your comments. All right. Now is the fun part. So we've talked through how you want to make your content look like you. So creating your own, even if it's putting someone else's like quote onto your frame with your at such and such or your logo. We're going to do that. We're going to work on our comments, how they're going to, look and feel and sound. And most importantly, we're going to have a system that we're working off of. So we're going to know our rotation, or what order we're going to post in, how often per week. We're going to be that specific. So with all of that, you know exactly what content you need to create, right? You know the image, you know the words it needs to say, the comments, and you know how many of each you need to have 30 days finished, because that's what we're going to work on this week. So let me go ahead and share with you your homework. You're going to create a content calendar. This is what all brands, bloggers, professionals do. So all that means is you're going to map out 30 days of posts. You're going to create intentional and professionally branded images for each of those posts, and then you're going to upload those posts and write the comments in Planoly. Be sure you like what you see, and then we're going to start posting every day. So I'm going to scroll down. This is a content planner. So you could either do this inside Planoly. You can do it pen and paper if that's what works for you. You can print out a calendar and write it in. I've definitely done that. Whatever works best for you, that's what I want you to do for this, for mapping it out. Planoly now allows you, like we looked at last week, to use placeholders. So you can simply say, you can type it in there, and that way you can move them around easily. So if you're a tech person, that might be fun for you. But as you're doing this, this is the kicker. I want you to think about how you work. Are you like me? Like when I have a goal, like a task like this, it's a project for me. And I like to do projects all at once in one setting, like marathon style. Like I will make one chunk of 5 hours and that's all I do. And like I get obsessive about it and then I'm like mad if it's not finished. So that's how I work. It's motivating to me. It's exciting. How do you work? My husband is a little bit each day. He could work on something every day and not, like, to me that is so boring and monotonous, and that's just my personality. So think about how you work best and make a plan in your calendar. Make a plan. Write it in. Where are you going to make this time to get ahead of the game? And then once you have your 30, each week you should be creating more content, at least a week's worth, right? Because you need to keep up with your brand. Another way I like to batch is I'll do all my quotes. I'll get really into it, like that Wordle I was doing for a Sweet Sparkle. And because I'll be like really into that style and feel, I'll like just do a bunch of quotes at once. And then edit a bunch of beauty images at once. And then, right, like you can kind of do it by theme. Think about how you're going to get it done and what works best for you. What else? I think that's pretty much it. So how do you work best? Yeah, look to how you naturally live to figure that out. I figured that out because that's how I would do my lesson plans when I was teaching. I would want them all done. So I would do them all in one day and like just be done, do all the worksheets. And it's very similar. I would create my own worksheets. I would have the template I used, and because I was already doing it, it was super easy to keep pasting it and just changing it for each day. So it's like almost the exact same thing. So for you at work, how do you get all your tasks done up front? Do you spread them out? Like, what is your style? And that will just help you in every aspect of your life if you get really clear on that. So with that, I think I'm at like 25 minutes. Yay. You have a lot of work to do. I know this was a lot. Once this is done and we're just in a rhythm, it'll be simple and quick. And we'll get into the fun stuff next week of likes and follows and finding people, targeting people to come like what we have to offer, since we're going to have amazing content. All right, guys. Well, hope you have an amazing new year. Love you, and we'll talk soon. Bye.